Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to Qatar Open Innovation Program webinar. Today's webinar is a partnership between QRDI Council and the Communications Regulatory Authority. I am Iman Tag, RDI Program Senior Specialist. I manage the Open Innovation Program with government entity in Qatar, and I'm excited to be your host for this session. I would like to introduce my panelists today, Mr. Al-Sayed Ali, Senior Specialist of Consumer Protection, and Ms. Hiba Suleiman Zaina, who is Acting Quality of Service Section Head from CRA. For today's agenda, I will give a short introduction about the Open Innovation Program. Then I will give the floor to Mr. Al-Sayed, who will explain the innovation call afterwards. I will describe the process after that of applying for the Open Innovation Program challenge, and then we will be answering your Q&A questions. Please feel free to submit your questions anytime during this session through the Q&A function, and we will answer all questions at the end. And please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be accessible upon request. So QRDI Council was established in 2018, representing a milestone in Qatar's research, development, and innovation agenda. The Council's first milestone was to develop a national strategy that would optimize RDI activities and help realize the country's overarching goals and ambitions. The Council accomplished this mission at the end of 2019, having drafted the Qatar Research, Development and Innovation Strategy 2030. The Council brings together prominent national and international figures from across government and industrial academia, and a committee that draws the wealth of knowledge and expertise of individuals from various disciplines. One of the first programs that QRDI launched was the Qatar Open Innovation Program that aims to connect opportunity owners who are in the scarce large local enterprise and government agencies such as CRA with local and global stakeholders, innovators. So in the frame of this program, we work together with the LLEs and government agencies to identify areas where they want to pilot innovation in order to enhance the experience of users and to address the challenges that the entity is facing. So we structure it in a form of a call for proposal, and then we release it for companies from all over the world to apply for it in order to get the best innovative solution. Also, we partner with you as innovators to test and pilot in Qatar through this program. We will facilitate the engagement of innovators with the local large enterprises and government agencies, and we will fund the initial pilot to be developed in Qatar. So what do we offer to the innovator? We offer in the frame of this program is first to have access to fund and develop the pilot, and we fund up to 100,000 US dollars, which is 365,000 Qatari riyals. We also offer the potential to commercialize the potential for commercialization agreements with the large local enterprises and government agencies. We facilitate the registration process here inside Qatar. So we help companies get access to the local Qatari market and engage with stakeholders and grow scale their solutions in Qatar and in the region, and this will help them in accessing the Qatari and GCC market. So here are some examples for the LLEs and government agencies that we have worked with. We have published about 52 open innovation calls with 19 different partners. As you notice, you see we worked with Uridu, Suhail Sat, Sidra Baladna, Qatar Airways, Kahrama, and with government, we work with the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Ministry of Municipality, Ministry of Labor, um, Qatar Museums, and now it's our first call with Communication Regulatory Authority. And this will continue to grow. So far, as you have seen, we have published 52, and we have closed 47 calls so far. So these are in the stages of review. From the 47, we have 27 awarded projects that are undergoing piloting and testing phase. And so far, we completed 6 projects. And these numbers will continue to grow. So now I give the floor to Mr. Al Sayed, who will introduce CRA and will go through the innovation challenge.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Iman. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. This is Al Sayed Ali from the Communication Regulatory Authority at the State of Qatar. In regards the open innovation call for that we're gonna present to for you today, it's about the use of generative AI as a tool for the CRA. First, let me explain about the CRA. As you might have read about the CRA before coming to the webinar. So the CRA is the regulator of the ICT, as well as the postal sector and access to digital media in Qatar. So the CRA is mandated to protect the consumer rights as well as promoting competition. So the CRA role is balancing between the consumer rights and the consumer, enhancing the consumer trust as well as empowering the sector for further development and enhancing the competition between the service providers. So as part of this mandate, so the CRA has many or achieving this mandate through many departments within the CRAs. There are the Consumer Affairs Department, Technical Affairs, Spectrum Affairs, and Regulatory Affairs, and many other shared services and other departments within the CRA. So the CRA is as you know, the CRA is the regulator who is issuing also the regulation in the sector for the ICT sector, especially for the telecommunication sector in a very high focus on the sector. And the recent mandate that has been added to the CRA is the postal sector. So the CRA is now regulating the postal sector as per the law, the postal law that has been issued at the end of 2023. So that's a brief about the CRA and its mandates and the most recent development that happening about the CRA mandates. So now let's move on to the challenge. Iman, I'm trying to control the screen to move to the next step. Next slide, Iman. Yes. So the project that's in collaboration between the CRA and the QRDI, and why we are here today is the generative AI chatbot for multi-channel application. So as you might have noticed in the description and the details that we have published, so the CRA is on its way to enroll the generative AI and build a tool that's gonna be used to enhance the user experience while dealing with the CRA. So such tool gonna be used as an interactive tool between the public as well and the CRA as a channel, as a public channel that the CRA gonna use for different use cases. So what we are addressing here is that it's gonna be a major tool in a multi-channels in order to interact with the public, and we are seeking here to enhance the user experience and provide a real-time response to the user in two sides, in an informative and transactional side. So, and both has to be in a very precise way, with an efficient and accurate response that going to be given to the user, whoever is interacting with the CRA through this tool. That's why we are inviting proposals from all startup, SMEs, and corporate for the development of such tool. Let's go on, Iman, to the next slide, please. Okay. The key success criteria for the project, let me take you through it one by one, and then for sure we're gonna open the questions so you can ask for whatever clarifications that you may need. So the first is about monitoring dashboard for tracking user interaction, satisfaction, and performance metrics, which is a very important part of the project where the CRA gonna monitor what's happening between the user and the tool, how the tool perform when the user asks a question, how the quality of the answers that's being given to the users. So that's gonna be like an eagle eye dashboard where the CRA gonna monitor all the interactions that's happening between the user and the tool, and that's very important for the quality purposes. So the second item as a success criteria is achieving a very precise or delivering a very precise response to the user and identifying the nature of the cases. Given the diverse of the different accents within the same language and the rhythm of typing for each user who's typing texts. And the third thing is about ensuring an accurate and efficient response from the generative AI chatbot, which is a very important. We are speaking here about a tool that's a major tool, let's say, or one of the public tools that the CRA going to use to interact with the public, and all the responses are going to be given to the users has to be accurate. As again, we are speaking here about a government authority who's interacting with the user. The user is asking for some information. Based on those information, the user gonna take decision based on that, or the tool itself gonna take a transaction or gonna process a transaction based on the information and interaction with the user. So the accuracy here and efficiency in the way that's where the interaction occurs is very important. And here the tool gonna depend on some regulatory instruments and regulatory frameworks that the CRA use. When we speak about the regulatory frameworks here, the regulatory frameworks are the regulated, for example, the telecom law and some other instruments and regulation and policies that the CRA has issued and already using to regulate the sector. All of those regulatory instruments we are using as a CRA to regulate the market, and that's why let's give an example. Is like the consumer protection policy, for example. That's one a regulatory instrument that the CRA is using to protect the consumer rights and enhance the consumer trust, and making sure that the service provider is complying to the regulatory frameworks, all the regulatory frameworks that the CRA has set in order to protect the consumers. So there are many terms and conditions there where the service provider has to comply for it. There are some sort of acceptance criteria for the consumer complaints and so on. So all of those set of rules has to be taken into consideration while the bot is responding to the user queries. So, and then the fifth point is about integrating a human in-loop system for complex queries and clarification and continuous monitoring to enhance chatbot responsiveness. So that's also important in case there are some questions or queries. Let's say that the bot couldn't directly give a response for it, so it can be then transferred to some of the CRA employees in order to specifically respond to this complex queries. So the fifth one is about ensuring high level of privacy and user information during interaction with the bot by verifying user authenticity through the synchronization with the National Authentication Service, which is a step as part of the transactional let's say edge of the activities that the bot gonna do is let's say when the bot gonna take a transaction, like creating a ticket for the user based on the interactions that has happened in order to escalate a case to the next level for investigation as part of the CRA regulatory activities. So there has to be a verification to verify whether the user who's interacting with the bot and gonna file this case with the CRA is an authentic user. So there's gonna be authentication with the National Authentication Service to verify the identity of the user. Iman, if we can move to the next step, I think there are some other key success criteria. Iman, yeah, maybe the one before. No, there is, yes, that's it. So also there are some other success criteria here, as you can see, is about the development of generative AI chatbot on WhatsApp and Telegram for as a pilot phase. So the CRA has a public channels already, which is the CRA mobile application, the CRA website, for example, and the social media. But we will not deploy the generative AI chatbot on those public channel that the CRA has at the time being. So we're going to do the pilot on WhatsApp and Telegram channels of the CRA, which is both of them, which is the WhatsApp and Telegram, has a ready APIs where you can integrate with that to perform this part related to the as a public interface. What I mean, the scope of work of this project doesn't have an integration with the current up and running channels for this area, which is the mobile application and the website and the social media. We have also hotline, and that's not in the scope of work of this project. So the second thing about the informative use case integration with the existing digital channels, which is uh, uh, as you might have noticed from my explanation, is that there is a use case which is an informative and transactional use case. Informative is something related to the queries and respond to the questions, which should be a very accurate responses that are going to be given to the users, and based on the interaction that are going to happen with the users on the bot may then take a transactional step, which is creating a case for the user to be escalated to the next level as part of the CRA activities, where the investigation gonna start for the user case. Also, one of the success criteria is about the fraud and scam reporting use case, so where the user can report about some specific scams or fraud case, just for reporting purposes, where the bot here can capture the information and report it to the CRA. This may not require let's say, a case to be created to the user himself rather than just capturing the information and report it to the CRA for monitoring purposes and further actions that can be taken by the CRA. And then the bilingual support for Arabic and English, that's important, as we have an Arabic and English speakers in Qatar. Arabic is the native language and main language in the country, but there are many English speakers, so the bot has to understand both Arabic and English, which is with different dialects. So, and there will be a two-way of interaction modalities in both text typing and voice note prompts. That's why we have chosen WhatsApp and Telegram, as actually both of them support the text and voice prompts. So, man, if we can move on. Yeah, we did that already. That's it.
Yes. Yeah, so I will now explain the submission process. If you go to the QRDI portal, which is the one shown here, you should scroll down to current challenges. You will see the challenge as live with the deadline stated and everything. So if you click on that, you will see the page of the challenge. You will see all the information that we are discussing and the requirements. If you click on apply here, it will move to the nine site website. So the nine site website, you will see the web page has the same information that's on the QRDI website. However, here is the actual website that you apply on. So when you click on respond, it will take you to the page of login, or if you have already an account with this portal, so you just log in. If not, you need to register as a new user. So after registration and login, you will see the requirements for the proposal, and I emphasize like to put in all the details for your company and clearly explain your innovative solution and how does it answer the challenge. It will make it easier for us to for the review and to give you a thorough and fair evaluation. As I said, we encourage you to fill and tick all the boxes. If you are not finished with the proposal, you don't have to submit it at the same date. You can submit it up to the deadline. However, since it's an AI-based challenge, we expect a high number of proposals, so we encourage you to submit earlier than the deadline. And a common mistake that we see is that some companies, they forget to click on submit for their proposal or by the deadline, and then they miss it. And please note that the due date is September 9th, 2024. And we now will be responding to your Q&A, to your questions by the Q&A. So if you have any question, please go to the Q&A box and put in your question. So the first question is this a multi-language tool? Mr. Sayed?
Yes, yes, it is. So, as we have said, it's gonna be Arabic and English. Again, with different dialects within the same language. So, as you know, in English there are different dialects, and the same in Arabic. So the accent where the GCC speaks is different than the some other regions within the same Middle East region, for example. The same for the English language. So that's why, yes, it's Arabic and English with different dialects within the same language.
Okay, the second question, as an initial pilot on WhatsApp, Telegram, is user authenticity needs to be implemented or verified? If yes, that would need further info on current authenticating users from a CRA side. For other channels like mobile, web portal, etc., it is clear or much easier as authorization would be done on CRA closed environment.
Okay. Let me give you a high-level information here about this part, okay? So the current user authentication is happening through the National Authentication Service, okay? Which is a service that's a central services where all government entities that's giving a public service that require a user authentication is doing integration with this National Authentication Service. So what you're gonna do is that they're gonna be an API for this National Authentication Service that you're gonna link with for user authentication. So at the current time, as we are speaking now, we are doing that, as you might have noticed, on the CRA mobile application and on the CRA website through the National Authentication Service, where the user is entering the QID and then there is an OTP that goes to the mobile number that's linked to this QID. So the same gonna happen on the chatbot. Through the chatbot, but with an interface of the Telegram and API, Telegram and WhatsApp, where there may be the user just the bot gonna ask the user about his QID, and then as part of the integration, so then there should be an authentication and OTP that the user has to enter. So how this exactly work and how it technically work, this can be in a separate session.
Okay, another question. It says on point number 2 in the success criteria, it says different linguistic preferences and accents. Is the chatbot speech to text or text to text?
Okay. It gonna be both sides and reverse. So let's say the user, it can be a speech to text. Okay. So if a user is speaking and send a voice prompt, so here you have to capture the information from the prompt, and that can be just converted into text, and that you can take it forward as part of the process. And if it's text, So that means it can be text to text if the user is speaking in a different dialect and just typing in his dialect as part to, as we have said, there are different dialects within the same language. So when the user is writing something, so you need to understand even the text and have it and format it or convert it to a standard text so the machine can understand. Let's say, so again, so it should be both speech and text. If that can fulfill your question. If you still need clarity, just ask again. So next tema.
Okay, it's a comment and a question. I understand that this is a research project. Why doesn't CRA like any of the existing products for chatbots and AI? What is the unique expected output of this research? First of all, this is an innovation challenge. It's a piloting innovation challenge. So when we release it, we make sure that there is no current solution that can resolve it. But Mr. Said, you can elaborate more on this.
Yes. So the challenge as we have here, again, we are speaking about a tool that's gonna be used by the regulator to interact with the public. And again, the interaction here is not for just giving some information and responses that can be fulfilled like by any other FAQ tool. This is not what we need. So we are here speaking about a response that's gonna go from a regulator to the public user who's asking about some specific questions that can vary too much according to the nature of his case. So, and the response that should be given to him should be in compliance with the regulatory framework and instruments that the CRA use. So let's say that so a user is asking whether he can do something or not according to the regulation, if that's his right or not. So the response that's going to be given to the user has to be accurate. We cannot mislead the public. We cannot give a response that can just be fulfilled by just some very few FAQs. This is not what we need to have here. And we can not give an exaggerated response to the user. So this is not, this should happen from a regulatory entity to the user. So what I mean here regarding the informative use case, it has to be a precise, so an accurate response has to be given to the user. And again, that's based on the regulatory framework. So the machine, or let's say the tool has to understand the regulatory instruments of the CRA and should analyze what the CRA is asking, and then match between that and gives a response to the user, which is going to be an accurate response. Again, this is about the informative part. There is some other part, which is a transactional part where the tool gonna take action on behalf of the user after authenticating the user identity. So then it's gonna create a case and then can give updates for the user on the same case in case he asks for updates. Again, that's the challenge that we have now. So yeah.
Okay, the next question. Are you open to a cloud solution for Gen AI chatbots?
Yes. What exactly the cloud are gonna be used? So that's something that can be discussed in a later stage. But yes, we are open for that.
Okay, the next question. What do you mean by voice prompts? Is that voice messages sent on WhatsApp?
Yes. Yes, it has.
Okay.
It has same like when you send a voice note or a voice prompt through the WhatsApp. So it's that's it. So again, this is to make the user experience much easier. So not every user can or like to text, and not every user can text accurately, let's say. So there are some users who just would love to speak and just speak. So here we can fulfill that.
Okay. The next question, since this is a university-led project, can a university from outside Qatar participate? First of all, this is not a university-led project. The QRDI is a council that is under Qatar Foundation. It funds research and it funds innovation, and this is an innovation challenge. And CRA is a government regulatory authority. About a participation from universities, universities can partner with a startup or a company, and then the main applicant should be the company, not the university. Next question, if we have a ready-made product that aligns with the requirements, can we present this as part of the proposal? So this is a good question. So the piloting and testing purpose for it is to fund solutions that are not ready-made. So if there is a ready-made solution, there would have been it goes through procurement. That's a different line. What we are looking here for the specific requirements for CRA and for the details that they have aligned. If your solution is between TRL higher than 3 and less than 10, so this is a solution that you can submit through our program. Given that there is a development solution to your product, it shouldn't be an implementation. It's a simple implementation. No, there should be an innovation and a development component into the solution that fits with the criteria that Mr. Said has just outlined. Okay, and next
Yeah, but
question.
let me add something here, Mr. Iman.
Go ahead, yes.
If you guys have done a similar work before, absolutely you can mention in your proposal. So you can explain for us how fit you are to the project. So you can explain that to us that you have done something that's similar. Yeah, you might not have done something for a regulator before with the same challenge that we have, but you might have done something related to the generative AI chatbot before. You can just explain there, but you cannot submit with the same thing that you have done previously or have it as a ready-made. I can just tell that we're going to use it as it is. Again, that may not fulfill or resolve the challenge that we need to solve, so that may disqualify yourself. So again, you can use it to explain that you are more fit to that. Okay, but again, you need to explain how you're going to solve that challenge that we need to be that we are inviting you to solve it. Did you get it? Okay. Amen.
Yes,
Next.
thank you.
Yeah.
Perfectly explained. So the next question, how can I list my company as an approved affiliated institution so that I can choose it in my profile? Can you send me an email with the contact person for that? This is to avoid an issue I faced during a previous submission. So in the Nine Sites portal, I think that it's fairly easy to register your profile and your company. If you are facing problems, you can contact Nine Sites platform, and you can contact us also on the email mentioned here. We just require that you have the requirements to have a company that is registered, and it is not an individual person without a company. We want a company that has a legal entity with employees and everything that's legitimate to work and give funding to. So that shouldn't be an issue. But if you face an issue with registration, you should contact Nine Sites or us at this email. Next question, do you expect for submission to be delivered in form of technical proposal, or you want to see certain use cases and technology in use? Both are required actually. So when you submit your proposal, you will fill in the technical aspects that answers the requirements, and you can also attach the use cases and technology that you have previously used, as Mr. Sayed mentioned. Any supporting document that will support your own proposal, we will look at it as well. The question, do you need the company to register in Qatar? No, any company from all over the world can apply for this innovation challenge. For the POC, is it expected to deliver both English and Arabic? I would say yes, and I'm sure Mr. Said, you confirm, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's both English and Arabic. And what we mean with POC here is it's a proof of concept, but what we mean here is a minimum viable product according to the scope of focus that we have set. So it's gonna be yes, both in Arabic and English as a function service, okay, with the minimum viable features that we have explained in the call for proposals.
Okay. Next, what are the systems that would be required to integrate with the chatbot?
Okay, as again, that's also explained there. So there are main central system, which is the CRA CRM system. That's a central complaint management system that's the CRA using with the service provider, and it's already integrated with CRA channels. Okay, and the chatbot will be an add-on and integrated to this central system, which is the main system that handle the operation in relation to the interaction with the public. This is the main central system the CRA use, and they're gonna be integration also with the National Authentication Service for authenticating the users who's interacting with the chatbot, especially when it comes to the part related to the transactional step. Okay. There may be some other integrations as part of your proposal, but here that's dependent on your proposal. So, and dependent on the technology that you propose to use. And if there are some specific technologies that you think that you're gonna utilize and need to integrate with, so you should explain that in your technical proposal. As again, we're gonna assess whether that's actually accepted or not. Okay.
Okay. Next, regarding language, is it expected that user can use English and Arabic interchangeably? For example, can a user start in English and then move to Arabic and then come back to English again?
Yeah, that's a user behavior that you should be ready for it. Yes, thanks. That's a good question. Yeah, that's a behavior that may happen. And as long as the tool gonna accept both in English and Arabic, so we are expecting the user that can simply flip from a language to the other. So which means yes, the chatbot should deal with that.
Okay, can you list the dialects you wish the bot to support?
Okay, we didn't list that especially in the specifically in the call for proposals, but um, if you are someone who's in the region here, so you can know the main dialects, which let's say the GCC dialect is the and Qatari dialect is the main one, okay, and then there are gonna be some other dialects within the region, and the same for English. And again, we are we expect that you guys exert some efforts in exploring what dialects and what you think that you can develop something that can work with those dialects. And here is a differentiation gonna come from a proposal to the other. So again, we cannot list all of them. We don't need to make it a very complicated for you. But again, you should do some sort of research and that you can propose the best that you can do on how to deliver something that can deal with all of those dialects.
Okay, what about business requirements, the expected questions and answers? Also, can you give us more details on information exchange between us and CRA? What are the available data pipelines that we are expected to integrate?
Okay. There are a system which is a central system. This system has too much data, but actually the integration between the bot and the system is through the API for calling some updates and checking some updates and creating tickets and getting response from the system and so on. And that's something that I believe that all of you guys understand that. There may be some other source of data, regardless the integration is more about the regulatory instruments that they use, which is a very important thing. And the second thing about the expected nature of cases, which is a very important thing. And this is the start point for the chatbot. The chatbot cannot take any step further or interact in an accurate manner with the user except understand first what the nature of the case. So if the chatbot couldn't understand the nature of the case, I don't think that he gonna succeed in doing any of the further steps. Okay, so the first thing is that he has to understand the nature of the case. Let's say the user is interacting with the bot to complain about a network coverage complaint. If the bot couldn't understand that the user is asking or complaining or concerned about a network coverage case, so the bot wouldn't be able to ask the accurate question to get the accurate response to define or to decide whether to take the case to the next step or create a case for the user or not. Okay, so what I mean, level 0, that it has to understand the nature of the case. So, and to understand the nature of the case, so yes, we're gonna give some information about the nature of the cases that the CRA has received until now, but this is something that's gonna evolve as again the technology is getting evolved and the products and services is getting developed more, which means that we're gonna get more and more nature of the cases by the time. So what we're gonna give you is not a one-end input from our side, but it will need to be updated, and the tool itself should understand that there may be some new nature of the cases that are going to be added. This is one thing. There are some other data that you're going to get from our side as well, which is the instruments, the regulatory instruments, which is the regulatory frameworks. So we're going to give you all the regulatory frameworks that the tool should understand, should be trained on it, should use to analyze and match between what the user is asking or what the user is concerned, or match between the nature of the case that the user is concerned about it and what's supported from the regulatory framework to define what are the criteria that should be fulfilled for this case. So we're going to give you those information, which is the regulatory instruments, and we will try to make it organized and categorized as much as can. Okay, so those are the data that we're going to give. So if any further data that's essential for some specific features, so we appreciate that you can explain that in your proposal as well.
Okay, for human in loop system, does it mean agent platform for connecting with users or for monitoring the chatbot conversations only?
No, sorry again, for human, let me read that. For human loop system, does it that mean agent platform for connecting with user or monitoring the chatbot conversation only? Yeah, okay. There are two things here. There are two. Okay, there is one case where the case gonna be escalated, or let's say to a human. Okay, and where the human gonna validate what the user is saying and what's the nature of his case, and then based on that, he gonna define whether to accept the case or not. This is one thing. The other thing about the monitoring for the chatbot conversation, that's another case. So it's two different use cases. It's not the same use case. Okay. So it may be served through the same dashboard or same platform, but again, that's two different use cases.
Okay, is it supposed to be multimodal chatbot?
I may let that to Heba.
Miss Hiba?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure what does he mean by this question.
Okay. Aniket Danam, if you may explain more, what do you mean with this question in another input? Okay, so we can come to that. Okay, Simon, you can
Okay.
go on.
Will phase one involve the proposal to have developed solution, or will it only require the strategy and development happens part of phase two? So phase one is the piloting and testing of the proposal. So it must be developed. It must be the development and testing of the solution. Phase two will be about engaging with the stakeholders and actually moving the product further. So, Mr. Say, do you have any
Yeah,
additional
let me explain more here. I'm not sure if you mean in your proposal or in the development phase. So if you speak about your proposal, or if your question about your proposal, we do not expect in your proposal that you're going to submit in early September to provide for us a functionally working solution that's already technically built. We do not expect you that. We expect you to provide a proposal, not the solution itself. Okay. So, but if you speak about the development phase, let's say that the project has been awarded to your company and they have started to work on the development of the requirement and to solve the challenge here, that's the phase where you're going to develop the feature that we have stated in the requirement in order to solve the challenge. And at the end, we are expecting a minimum viable product that works in both Telegram and WhatsApp, that's already integrated with the CRA CRM and with the National Authentication Service that can understand and deal in both language, Arabic and English, that can define the nature of the case and can analyze it in correspondence or in compliance with the regulatory frameworks and give an accurate and precise response to the user as part of the informative use case, and then can take a transaction for the transactional use case. Okay.
Okay, are informational data sources currently ready at CRA? Same question to transactional APIs.
Okay, I think I explained this previously when I said that there's going to be integration with the current central system for acquiring some data to give some updates, and there's going to be some other source of data, as I have explained, which is related to the nature of cases that you're gonna train the bot on such nature of cases to understand and analyze it and to match between such nature of cases and the regulatory framework and what are the associated criteria to accept such nature of cases. And also we're gonna give you the data related to the regulatory instruments as a text. It's a regulatory instrument. It's a regulatory framework, which is which combine the telecommunication law and the postal law and some other policy and regulation and instruments that we are using. So and there are some set of procedures that we're gonna give you all of that. Okay, we will try to make it in an organized and categorized format where you can utilize it. And again, that's both going to be used for the informative and transactional. And that's it. But by the way, the transactional part is more related to the integration with the central system. So the central system going to do very big part of the process. But you're gonna need to integrate with the central system. So it's a simple integration, by the way. With the central system. That's about the transactional part. Okay. So again, the informative part is more about giving an accurate response and precise response, let's say, to the user based on the understanding on the nature of the case that he is asking for and how compliant it is with the regulatory framework.
Okay, if the pilot project needs more funds than 100K to build it, what can you do about this issue? Well, our cap is 100,000K, so the solution should cost that much for the piloting. Next question, have you shared any example questions that users have asked you in the past?
Example question. I didn't get the point here.
So any
what
example of a Q&A, like questions you got in the past that are...
Okay. It's like a query or something or a case, a sample of a case that we have got previously. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's say that there are many nature of cases that we have as a CRA. There are some consumers who's coming to the CRA for cases related to the network coverage, which is a mobile network coverage here that we are speaking about, and some other cases related to the service disconnection, some other cases related to the fraud cases, some other billing cases, and many other nature of cases as part of the telecom sector. Okay. Also, there are some other cases related to the postal sector as well. Okay, but again, the focus, let's say, is in the regulatory framework of the telecommunication sector. So this is the let me give you a case as a scenario of a case that the user can interact with the bot about it. So, which is a consumer is telling that I have a case, a complaint related to the I don't have a network coverage at my home location 1 month ago. So the bot gonna respond, okay, good. Did you complain to your service provider? Okay, why the bot should ask this question, as actually part of the process is that the regulator cannot accept a consumer complaint except this complaint has been filed with the service provider first. This is the background why the bot has been asking for that. So then the consumer gonna respond, yes, I did complain. So the bot gonna tell, okay, when did you complain to your service provider? So he gonna say that I complained 40 days ago, and my complaint is still open. I didn't get any response or a resolution until now. So in a very straightforward way, the case is initially valid based on the analysis that the bot gonna do, based on the input that the user has set, and based on matching that with the acceptance criteria in the process of accepting the consumer complaint. As actually the consumer complaint process says that the consumer has to complain first to the service provider, and then he has to wait for 30 days in case his complaint is open and his case is related to the network coverage. So he has to complain for 30 days. And after 30 days, if the case is still open, the CRA can accept the complaint. If the case is closed and even the consumer is not satisfied, we can accept the complaint. If the service provider rejected the case, we can accept the complaint. This is the one scenario of a case related to the network coverage. There are some other scenarios and acceptance criteria for some other nature of cases, which can be some sort of urgent cases related to service disconnection and something like that, which has some different criteria. This is just an example of how the interaction between the bot and the user can happen for a real case. Hope that can explain it well.
Okay, to ensure accuracy, what will be the data sources of the information provided to the user? I think this one will
Yes.
depend on, we have explained about the data, and this can be informed in details in the with the upcoming stages. We have about 3 minutes, so
Yeah.
I'll ask the question, why must TRL be less than 3 for the tools to be used? No, it should be, the TRL level should be higher than 3 and less than 10, so it's not commercialized yet. Can we expect that the regulatory frameworks will be shared by CRA, or the innovation partner should have the understanding from their side?
No, we will, as actually we have the regulatory expertise. So we are done. We're gonna give you what exactly needs a bot to depend on. Okay, are we gonna help you with that and to better understand that? Again, we do not expect that you guys have the regulatory expertise, but we have. So we're gonna help you with that.
Okay. I have 2 minutes, and for that I prefer to wrap up the webinar. There are more questions here, and we will answer all of them via email, since all attendees have submitted they have registered with us. As I stated, this webinar will be is recorded, and the recording will be shared with all the attendees upon request. If you have any further question, you can reach out to the email indicated here, and to Nine Sigma. Once you register and apply and start your application process, any questions can be answered by Nine Sigma or us. I thank Mr. Al Sayed and Hiba for their participation, and everyone here. And please note that the deadline for submission is September 9th. I wish you all the best, and thank you very much for all your participation. Thank you.